behind the tornado on US 12. Another wave of RFD washes over them, reporting another data set, but this time a strengthening tornado in progress. Skip stops off at the intersection of South Dakota 47 and 132nd Street, where he can take in the spectacle of the wedge tornado. Quickly watches the tornado from 23rd Ave. Mesocyclone of the parent supercell seems to be just as fast as the tornado itself. They press on to get off of the unpaved roads and try to get ahead of the tornado. All of Twistex is now in South Dakota 47 north of Bowdle, coordinating the third round of RFD sampling.
What's up? What's up? You're here.
Drives past three mesonet cars pulled off onto the shoulder. They seek another deployment with Tower. By this time, however, dozens of chasers are lining South Dakota 47. Moment, as many of them tunnel-visioned on the tornado, aimlessly running across the chaotic highway. Unnerved, tells Carl to back off. Unsafe to attempt another probe intercept. Talbot, meanwhile, is on the southbound side of the highway, and his roof camera rolls as the tornado appears to sit in place, turning vigorously over what appears to be open field. However, it then begins to from a pure northeasterly course towards the highway, reaching its peak width of 3/4 of a mile. Now in the path is yet another farmstead and a row of high-voltage transmission towers. It is cue to take his escape route. To add to the exhilaration of the moment, by chasers vehicle the worst possible moment to overheat. Talbot takes a southerly escape route on South Dakota 47, of the stranded chaser to continue eastward on US 12. Twistex holds their ground. Tim estimates that it'll pass to their port as Carl and Matt shelter beside him RFD wins. And watch as it overtakes the final farmstead on 132nd Street. Unlike the previous properties, what is to several high voltage towers are crumpled, one of which falls from its anchor. Six mesonets are now RFD sampling today, and
Oh yeah, I just did the Black Brotherhood.
Supercell's process takes over. Tornado hooks hard to the north over South Dakota 7 at 6:45 p.m. Out into a up to the updraft of the hell. Chase, however, is far from over as storm chasers make use of the Bowdle to the town of Roscoe. The cycle once again in its updraft base becomes rain. The mesocyclone's structure sculpts a laminar plate like this. Lucio and Talbot watch the rain base as another tornado materializes. Unlike the Bowdle wedge, this tornado remains harmless and makes for a great scene in 2 minutes and 5 miles south of Roscoe. Richard is almost completing the power detour caused by the down power lines before disaster strikes. A pheasant chooses the across the
Oh, I'm looking for something that's in my lap.
Another tornado. A pheasant poorly chooses its time to cross the road, nailing the grill of Andrew's car.
Take that! Yeah! Just caught the supercell again.
Why can't I move?
Part of my grill just passed, so I know I have car damage. Hopefully nothing too extensive.
Fortunately, the damage is only cosmetic, but it only adds insult to injury for Pritchard after missing the wedge tornado. As the supercell's updraft nears the chasers on South Dakota 247 north of Roscoe, they need to reposition once again. Talbot opts to drop south and take US 12 once again, while Lucio and company takes another gravel road east. Relying on the mapping
I'm stuck
to
here.
off streets and trips, they select direct an easterly route that'll keep them directly in front of the storm's base. At this same time, Richard heads further east on US 12 to time-lapse the storm structure as he's had enough excitement for the day. Lucio, meanwhile, had to divert a mile south onto 130th Street to continue east, where the storm decides to drop yet another tornado
Am I
directly
over
behind
encumbered?
him. Traffic ahead of Lucio
Oh,
on the road was
no?
driving west towards the new close-range
What the
tornado.
fuck is going on?
It comes to their attention that 130th Street simply ends in a farmer's field. While executing a U-turn, yet another tornado drops even closer to the gang. Twin tornadoes are now traversing the field towards them. Adam and the other chasers on that road have no choice but to follow the tractor lines to bail out of the storm's way to the south. However, the field would end up winning the battle against Adam's SUV and the rest of the chasers that fled south. Supercell did not let up, spinning up even more tornadoes, one of which within 100 yards of the entrapped vehicle. Miles to the east, Pritchard's unaware of all of these additional tornadoes hidden behind the wall of rain. The supercell has gone into a high precipitation mode as light begins to fade. The precipitation finally begins to give way for Adam, Lucio, and the rest of the stranded chasers in the field. The rain has only further ensured that they'd be trapped there for some time. Adam and company
That's weird.
hoofed their gear back up to where the road had ended. Waiting there was a truck with one rather upset farmer. They would eventually be brought to a gas station in the next town, where the sheriff would be there waiting for them. He threatened the chasers with warrants if they didn't pay the farmer for damages caused to the field. Adam would return to the field that following afternoon to have his vehicle pulled out by a tractor at a pretty penny of $400 per person. Twistex would return to the site of the volatile tornado the following day. They came across the farmstead that sustained a direct hit, where amongst a grove of debarked trees is a smashed Highlander over 100 yards from the driveway of the property. The white exterior reminds Lee and Finley of their fleet of white Chevy Cobalts used for their maisonettes. Carl Young says that the car was likely a missile at some point yesterday, only to have Tim state that it's a great example of why you're not safe from a tornado in a car. While the damage around the farmstead would earn this tornado an EF4 rating, there were fortunately no injuries or fatalities associated with this or any of the tornadoes from this monster supercell. The events of May 22nd, 2010 would prove to be huge for Twistex. Low-cost and copy effects can be really
There we
powerful,
go.
and this one is even more flexible than you realize.
That was a
Subscribers
weird
are
glitch.
able to copy any activated or triggered ability.
Where the fuck's my bow? I don't feel that's good. I don't feel Oblivion also has anything planned for if that happens either. We'll come back to this gate.
plus scatter shot plus poison equals invincible. At the start, I am a bit weak, only able to throw one bottle at a time. But soon, I unlocked scatter shot. Level 1 scatter shot can shoot out 3 bottles, insufficient for the early stages. Quickly, I was lucky to unlock the exclusive skill of Mr. White, poison. With poison, my attacks can now cause damage over a longer period, allowing me to easily deal with large waves of enemies. Following that, I then unlocked the level 2 scatter shot. With the help of level 2 scatter shot, I feel the game is really too easy. Indeed, Mr. White paired with scatter shot and poison is the strongest combination. Mr.
This is a professional. Please. Set up yet. This is a professional.
When it comes to ingenuity, it's hard to beat a farmer. These are owl habitats. These jokers take pest control to a whole nother level. A single pair of barn owls can consume up to 3,000 rodents per year, which translates in up to a 50% reduction in pesticide use, saving them money and helping the environment to boot. Some more you know. When it comes to ingenuity, it's hard to beat a farmer. These are owl habitats. These jokers take pest control to a whole nother level. A single pair of barn owls can consume up to 3,000 rodents per year, which
No!
Hope you reduction in pesticide use, saving them money and helping the environment to boot.
Fuck, dude. So you can just sleep to serve your sentence? Whoa, I've never done that before. I usually just bust out and then kill everyone on my way out. Wow. that all permanent? Wow, that sucks. Did I get my possessions back? Okay, I need this 45. Oh, was my steel bow fucking stolen? I didn't even know that. Fuck. Is there a store nearby? Is there a smith somewhere? There's an inn. That looks like a smith. No outside smiths in Oblivion.
The March Rider sells and repairs. Did you know? Yes? I'll take that and thank you very much. Blah, 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 what a bore. That's enough.
Oh, you watched their face.
That's really funny. I doubt you really mean that.
Now I know which ones she likes and don't like. Alright.
I doubt you really mean that. I can't argue with that. Oh, that's great. That blah, 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 what a bore.
Damn, I started.
I won't fight you. Don't be silly. That's really... Don't make me laugh. That's great. I can't argue with that. I doubt you really mean... You're pathetic. Where did you get that? That's good. Blah, blah, blah. I can't argue with that. I doubt you really mean that. Don't make me laugh. Was that supposed to be a compliment? You win this... That's great. How's it go again? You're full of it. That's great. How's it... You win this one. Don't be silly.
That's a bad fucking start right there. Can I just go back? Nope. Alright.
I like that a lot. You're pathetic. That's a bit You win this one. Where did you get that? You win this one. That's a bit excessive. You're a big fat liar. That will get you something. You're good. Have a look at my wares. I'm sure there's something to suit you. That's more than I'd usually pay. You're trying to drive me out of business. Make me a better offer. Come back and see me again. Farewell.
Hello.
Motherfucker. Oh, this is the Dark Brotherhood quest I'm on right now. Oh, I can hear the Night Mother.
Greetings, brother. Greetings. I am
I
Oshiva,
remember
mistress of this sanctuary. You stand now in our sanctuary. When you're ready for work, go and speak with Vicent. But before you go, please accept this gift from your new family. A unique set. Now, I've kept you long enough.
Nice.
The check. Lucian isn't here very often. His duties with the Black Hand keep him very busy. To employ the services of the Dark Brotherhood, one must perform It is an ancient rite, this Black Sacrament. All across the Empire, after a person performs the ritual, they are contacted by a speaker. Gold is exchanged, and the detail... I've heard some talk. This past year, some family members have been found. Ours is not the only Dark Brotherhood sanctuary. There are others, hidden throughout Cyrodiil, each one over... For you, of course. Go now, dear family member, and may the Night Mother wrap you in her cold, loving embrace.
I wish to welcome you to the sanctuary, my newest brother. Why should anyone bother with him? I welcome you to our family, and may Sithis be with you.
You are a life taker for the Dark Brotherhood. Our very existence relies on shadow and deception.
Ah, here you are. Warmest greetings to you. I trust you've already spoken with Ochi. Please, do not let my appearance unnerve you. Now, if you're ready to get to work... I was stricken with vampirism 300 years ago, while on an For nearly 100 years I hunted in secret, until the dark... Perhaps in the future, when I feel you have earned the right. A contract is a secret pact one enters into. A contract is fulfilled by a skilled assassin. While carrying out a contract, you may have the opportunity to earn a bonus. I'm not sure how you feel about pirates, but you've got to kill one. A captain, in fact. Excellent. Here is what you must do. Go to the waterfront district of the Imperial City. There you will find a ship named the Marie Helena. Board the ship and find its captain, Gaston Tussaud. He'll be in his cabin. The pirates have been moving a lot of cargo on board lately. You may be able to smuggle yourself on board. Oh, and one more thing. Get into the habit of asking your fellow family members about any current contract. As a pirate, Gaston Tussaud has certainly spilled his share of blood. Someone wants revenge, and they've hired us to extract it. Farewell, brother.
Get away from me.
Gold and magical trick.
If it isn't the newest member of the family. Let's get one thing straight. The tenets prevent me from killing you. But I don't have to like you. I'll sell you equipment, but only because Ojiva is making me. This family doesn't need any outsiders.
Okay.
Foul-smelling ape. You again? I see this. I don't have all day. Hurry it up.
So chameleon's invisibility.
Foul-smelling.
There you are. Welcome, welcome. So, your first contract. No chance for a bonus, huh? That's all right. You're better off. Who needs magic items? And the great thing about killing a target up close and personal is you can talk to him before you do it. You know? For example, this one time I had a contract to kill a little Nord girl at her birthday party. She asked me if I was the jester. So I said to her, no, I'm a messenger of death. You should have seen the look on her face. Anyway, she won't be seeing age 6. So, your first contract. No chance for a bonus, huh? That's all right. You're better off. Who needs magic items when you've got raw skill? And the great thing about killing a target up close and personal is you can talk to him before you do it. You know, say something scary. For example, this one time I had a contract to kill a little Nord girl at her birthday party. She asked me if I was the jester. So I said to her, no, I'm a messenger of death. You should have seen the look on her face. Anyway, she won't be seeing age 6. I once saw Lucian deal with an insubordinate brother. Someone who had broken the tenets. It took me a week to get the blood off my boots.
Okay, yeah, Zach, go ahead and roll for attack. Yeah, sure. Oh no. Hey, I forgot my dice. Call him in. Take it easy, friends. I'm a dice guy at this establishment. I'm really scared of it, man. Your character got a name? Terry Two Shoes. And does Terry have a family? Come on, Terry, stay with me. Let me hear about that family. He's an orphan, but he has a little mastiff named Dale. That's what it's all about. I want you to do me a favor, Terry. What? Watch this. Is that it? No. Okay, yeah, Zach, go ahead and roll for attack. Yeah, sure. Oh no. Hey, I forgot my dice. Call him in. Take it easy, friends. I'm a dice guy at this establishment.
coloured wolf in this open landscape, and the grass rats are hyper-vigilant. Every wolf has its own unique strategy to catch these rodents. This one plays a waiting game. But there are no honey badgers when it comes to digging. He huffs and puffs. Blowing down the holes like this, he hopes to flush his prey to the surface. Genius. But it's only a meager grass rat. Catching the larger mole rat requires a bit more craftiness. Their eyesight is poor, but the wolf still needs to tread carefully. Grandmother's footsteps seems to be working. Oh dear. Outwitted by a mole rat. At last.
You seen that ad?
Well, folks, it's about that time. You guys want my thoughts on the latest death battle of Master Chief versus Doomslayer, so let's get into it. Boy, this should have been the one death battle everybody knew who was going to win. Because you don't even have to be a fan of the Doomslayer to know that he's much more like that than the Chief. Boy, I was done with the synopsis when they said his sword could power all of Earth for 8 months. This is the same guy who went to hell himself, then cleared it. When you got demons scared of you, that's enough said. Bro went to hell and beat the devil himself. You think I'm counting him out? This man put hell on notice, then on lockdown. What are we talking about? Not trying to take anything away from the Chief, but he flipped a big truck. That doesn't compare to the Slayer beating a Titan that's said to have immeasurable power. With his bare hands, this is a super soldier versus a god. Which is why I'm glad they depict the Chief struggling and fighting for his freaking life. Because he ain't overpowering the Slayer in any capacity. Which is why they had to draw it this time, having them work together, giving us the collab we've always wanted. Death Battle gave us this team up before Microsoft. That's crazy. I was done when this man ran past him just to catch the missile to throw it right back. This fight was one-sided but sick. But what do you guys think? Well, folks, it's about that time.
These are three of the most hated commanders to play against in the entire Commander format. The other day I asked the question, what is the single most hated commander to play against? And I got a lot of answers. Well, I have to tell you guys right off the bat, probably the top answer was Grand Arbiter Augustin IV. Now, this is a game changer. This is on Wizards Game Changer list, which means even if you're playing this as a commander right out the gate, your power level's higher. The card is blue-white 2 for a 2/3 legendary human advisor. White spells you cast cost 1 less to cast, and blue spells you cast cost 1 less to cast, but spells your opponents cast cost 1 more to cast. It is unsurprising and undeniable this would be one of the top answers because everybody hates Mana Denial, just making everybody else's game less fun while yours is more efficient, and blue is probably going to play like a bunch of counter spells and sweepers. This is not fun to play against ever, but it's very fun to play with, I'm not going to lie. Number 2 on this list is Toxtrol the Corrosive. Black 5 for a 7/7 legendary creature slug horror. At the beginning of each end step, put a slime counter on each creature you don't control. Creatures you don't control get -1/-1 for each slime counter on them. Whenever a creature you don't control with a slime counter on it dies, create a 1/1 black slug creature token, and blue-black sacrifice a slug, draw a card. When I think about this conversation with people of what is the commander they hate playing against the most, Toxtrol often will come to mind. Without a doubt, it's the most hated blue-black commander to play against. It costs 7, and so it's just kind of a feel-bad all-around, because if you're somebody who counters this, for instance, they try to cast it, now it costs 9, that's a pain in the butt. If you're somebody who takes it out right away before anything cool happens, you're targeting the person, again, costs 9, very slow. But if you actually let this thing resolve, it's very hard to resolve creature decks against this. It's just a miserable play pattern. It is one of the single
Alright, we're back. We're back out here. Sorry for the long wait, y'all. We still alive? Yeah, we're still alive. Alright. We'll throw on some YouTube on here now.
It's Pod's biggest sale in history. Save up to 30% on moving and storage until May 19th. And see why Pod...
The paved roads, which are few and far between here in rural South Dakota. He has no choice but to leave the storm temporarily. The Twistex Mezzanets have rejoined US 12 and are safely west of the strengthening tornado. In the distance ahead of them, Tower stands defiantly as orange tracer smoke is whipped into the winds. On the far side of the tornado, the probe truck pulls onto the highway shoulder, and the three men climb out to watch the tornado envelop Tower. The tornado, still condensing as it traverses US 12 to the northeast, inflicts EF1 damage to a farmstead off of the highway. Tower still stands as the tornado passes, leaving Samaris's detachment to retrieve the 400-pound probe for round 2. Talbot, meanwhile, turns into the town of Bowdle. Residents in this small community of 500 are on their porches watching a maturing monster just 3 miles to their west. It continues to grow in width and fully condenses to the ground, slowly traversing closer and closer to town. The Twistex Mezzanets slid in behind the tornado on US 12. Another wave of RFD washes over them, recording another data set, but this time with a strengthening tornado in progress. Skip stops off at the intersection of South Dakota 47 and 132nd Street, where he can take in the spectacle of the wedge tornado. Quickly though, he realizes that he's in the path and needs to drop back south to observe the storm safely. Back to the south of Bowdle, Lucio watches the tornado from 323rd Ave. The mesocyclone of the parent supercell seems to be churning just as fast as the tornado itself. They press on to get off of the unpaved roads to try to get ahead of the tornado. All of Twistex is now on South Dakota 47 north of Bowdle, coordinating their third round of RFD sampling. Samaris in the probe truck drives past the 3 Mezzanette cars pulled off onto the shoulder.
Hey.
They seek another deployment with Tower.
Go lay down.
This time, however, dozens of chasers are lining South Dakota 47. The heat of the moment has many of them tunnel visioned on the tornado, aimlessly running across the chaotic highway. Tim is unnerved and tells Carl to back off. It is simply safe to attempt another probe intercept.
Get your bone. Get your bone.
Meanwhile, is on the southbound side of the highway, and his roof camera rolls as the tornado appears to sit in place, turning vigorously over what appears to be an open field. However,
look behind you. Look, you see it? Get your bone. Get it. Get it. Get your bone.
Reaching its peak
Good boy.
width of 3/4 of a mile. Now in the path is yet another farmstead and a row of high-voltage transmission towers. For Skip, this is his cue to take his escape route. To add to the exhilaration of the moment, a nearby chaser's vehicle chooses the worst possible moment to overheat. Talbot takes the southerly escape route on South Dakota 47 and picks up the stranded chaser to continue eastward on US 12.
Yeah, so they couldn't come in there.
Holds their ground. Tim estimates that it'll pass to their north as Carl and Matt shelter beside him from the RFD winds. The 3 men watch as it overtakes the final farmstead on 132nd Street. Unlike the previous properties, this one is completely consumed. Several high-voltage transmission towers are crumpled, one of which thrown from its anchoring. The Twistex Mezzanets are now completely consumed by the 3rd RFD sampling of the day, and most violent. Notably more powerful and cooler.
Lay down, Helios.
The supercell's occlusion process takes over, and the tornado hooks hard to the north over South Dakota 47.
Lay down. Lay down.
6:45 p.m.
Lay down.
The Bowdle tornado completely occludes and retreats up into the updraft of the parent supercell. The chase, however, is far from over as storm chasers head east from Bowdle towards the town of Roscoe. The storm is cycled once again and its updraft base becomes rain-free. The mesocyclone's structure sculpts a laminar plate-like disc. Lucio and Talbot watch the rain-free base as yet another tornado materializes. Unlike the volatile wedge, this tornado remains harmless and makes for a great scene the few minutes it is on the ground. 5 miles south of Roscoe, Andrew Pritchard has almost completed the hour detour caused by the downed power lines. Disaster strikes. A Pheasant poorly chooses its time to cross the road, nailing the grill of Andrew's car.
Go boy, stay there.
The road is blocked because of tornado damage. We just caught the supercell again, and I just nailed a pheasant. Not losing. Feathers flapping up. Part of my grill just flew past, so I know I have car damage. Hopefully nothing too extensive.
Fortunately, the damage is only cosmetic, but it only adds insult to injury for Pritchard after missing the wedge tornado. As the supercell's updraft nears the chasers on South Dakota 247 north of Roscoe, they need to reposition once again.
One thing I do like about Blue is you can just fast travel anywhere at any point.
While Lucio and company takes another gravel road east. Relying on the mapping of Microsoft's streets and trips, they select an easterly route that'll keep them directly in front of the storm's base. At this same time, Pritchard heads further east on US 12 to time-lapse the storm structure as he
anyone who may deserve it. The wealthy elites, politicians, San Francisco. Yeah, they deserve it. All are fair game in the eyes of Matt Stone and Trey Parker. But there have been times where South Park went just far enough to piss off certain people and to warrant a response. Roman Catholics did not appreciate their Virgin Mary depicted as a literal Bloody Mary, to put it lightly. And then you got China, who banned this series for its references to the Dalai Lama and also Winnie the Pooh. And then you got Kuwait, who banned South Park from airing entirely in 1999. Due to their jokes towards Muslims, and how they represented then President of Iraq, Saddam Hussein, who was depicted as Satan's abusive gay lover who dies horrifically in the South Park movie.
Good afternoon, sir. My lord. I killed you. Welcome to Cloud Ruler Temple. We have not had the honor of an emperor's
of their leader, to put it lightly. Kuwait banned the series outright, but South Park was a very popular show. So, to paraphrase, what if the creators created an Arabic animated sitcom that could be just as popular as South Park? And what if they did that by copying its art style, none of its high production value, and with permission from Paramount? Well, then you get Block 13. Now, this may look shamelessly like South Park Middle Eastern Edition, which, South Park already did, but without brushing it aside for just blatantly looking like South Park, be dead shamelessly like South Park Middle Eastern Edition, which, South Park already did, but without brushing it aside for just blatantly looking like South Park, I wanted to ask myself something more constructive towards Block 13. How does it stand out from South Park? Where do the similarities begin and end? And is this really a family-friendly version of the show? Even as a ripoff, was Block 13 transformative enough to be its own show? Well, let's find out. But wait! This video is brought to you by Helix Sleep. Spring is here. And along with spring comes that all easy from things. Moving on. This is why now is a great time to consider replacing that old mattress with something from Helix, the innovators of premium sleep.
Dude, are we still on this? Holy shit.
And something it can be. The evolution of Middle Eastern television. An animated sitcom born not from creative spontaneity, but out of censorship, controversy, and cultural necessity. And for a Western audience, the results come across as audibly gross, disjointed in its writing, and lacking much identity apart from the South Park nostalgia. This show, folks, is a mess, including superfluous music and multimedia inclusions that seem completely unnecessary. Created by Nawaf Salam al-Shamari and airing during Ramadan, Block 13 appeared to be a sanitized alternative to its American counterparts, focusing more on the character's neighborhood.
The Emperor and his sons were slain on our watch.
So to understand Block 13's existence, we wanted to understand the weight of its airtime and have someone who fluently spoke the language be able to give us insights. Someone who had watched many shows in the region and could understand the specific tone Block 13 wanted to have without relying on obvious subtitles.
You will be safe here until you can take
Move your hand. Authentically, I needed to call in reinforcements.
I know
writers
you
who
all
worked on
expect
this
me to
script
be
connected me with someone who grew up watching Middle Eastern television. They gave additional context for the intention involved with Block 13's creation.
I wanted you to know that
A shout
I
out to my
appreciate your
writers, my editors, they're the ones who worked on this video. But I really appreciate it too, because I could not discuss this critically without factoring that kind of information in. Nevertheless, the show was aired during Ramadan. And Ramadan is not merely a month of fasting and prayer. For the people, it is a moment of collective introspection, community values. It's also a time when TV viewership peaks across the Arab world. Ramadan has 2 meals split apart during the day, before dawn and after dusk, called Sahur and Iftar respectively. Families gather post-iftar and networks scramble to provide entertaining but spiritually conscious shows for them to watch. Block 13 airing during this period set a clear expectation that its content would be moral, educational, and appropriate for family consumption. An example would be a show like Dam Kam Salami, which aired in a similar time slot. It followed the slice of life misadventures of a family learning lessons about family, environmentalism, and everything in between. It's a show that fits the spiritual and societal mentality of that region and gives very digestible lessons that parents and children can be enveloped in. That, by and large, is the standard show they wish to see air during Ramadan. Block 13, on the other hand, has Batman, Michael Jackson's Thriller, space battles, and Bollywood dance numbers overcrowding a series that's so paper thin and pointless and forgets the whole education part by episode 4. Unless you want to, consider problematic education, which, hey, we'll get to in a bit. The show itself centers on a group of school children.
Hold on.
And their collective experiences living in the neighborhood of Block 13. On paper, the topic of each episode arises from a lesson or adventure
Hold on a sec,
that's
yo.
offered
Dog's got
with
tick.
the guidance of their teacher.
Abood getting a cheat sheet on whether cheating is okay.
The boys going to a concert. Or hey, being in space. That all sounds run-of-the-mill, right? Even for the space mentioned, many children's shows take very run-of-the-mill premises to create safe and digestible after-school programming. And based on initial expectations, that's what Block 13 was going for. But I'm sorry, all the good grace in the world I could give could not ignore the ear-grating truth. I couldn't tell if the show's actually educational because the voice acting for the kids is horrible to listen to. I'm talking like nails on a chalkboard levels of bad. It doesn't even matter if you understand what they're saying. How is bit crushed chipmunk squeaking grating noise pleasing to listen to? It's too much.
لحظة شباب، وين سلوم؟ يعني وين؟ أكيد راح يدور له إشارة مرور يبيع فيها علوش. إيه والله صوت يا عبود.
Fundamentally, watching this show is a test of auditory patience. Visually, it tries to replicate the South Park aesthetic. Simplistic 2D cutout animation, exaggerated expressions, and slapstick violence. But it falls short, lacking any consistency or finesse. Characters vary wildly in design complexity, from one scene to the next, and even from one character to another. This makes some look perfectly in line with the South Park aesthetic, and others look like they're from an entirely different show completely. The lack of artistic cohesion makes it more of a messy homage than a legitimate transformative artistic look. Even with the inclusion of the multimedia art styles, the CGI, the real-life pics superimposed, these rough-looking lip flaps often come across as superficial and uncoordinated. It is stylistic noise masquerading as innovation, and any minor changes they make, like altering the lip sync, isn't enough to set it apart. Instead of standing out from South Park, it feels completely derivative of it.
Bridget, you are a brilliant woman. With 2 wonderful children, embrace the chaos.
We're going to die! We're not going to die. We're having fun!
Darling, you need to get back out there. Bridget Jones, always exciting. How's the skirt?
Oh my god.
Hello, old friend.
It's not enough to survive. You've got to live.
Was that the Dalai Lama?
Just Harry Styles, I think.
Love you, is that okay? No, no.
South Park did it! South Park did it! Which includes Block 13's characters who mapped nearly one-to-one with South Park's, especially their iconic quartet.
Abood is Cartman, Saloom is Kenny, Hamoud is Stan, and Azus is Kyle.
Personality-wise, they aren't too dissimilar from their South Park originals, but that does not mean they are good alternatives.
Abood is a manipulative, abusive, and vindictive little fat ass like Cartman.
The only difference is he's given a little sister to kick around, which is just taken from Kyle and Ike.
Abood
is essentially the main character of Block 13, where many of the episodes centers around him and his schemes to get what he wants. Fun fact, the favorite insult towards Cartman is fat ass in South Park. Based on the sub of Block 13, you would think the favorite insult of Abood is fat ass too. However, the term fat ass isn't really in the Arabic language. There is the term fat, but that's not what they're saying apparently. Based on the Kuwaiti dialect that Block 13 has written in, our correspondent for this video says they aren't calling Abood fat ass, but instead duck. I do see why the subtitlers wanted to make more of a direct reference to Cartman's trademark insults. Come on, duck? It's just so physically insulting. Yeah, that's right. Shut up, you duck. Yeah, it doesn't work as well English-wise, but it's good to be back here. By further hammering Abood as the Cartman of Block 13,
you should go back to the Imperial City. Boris may have learned something. You'll find Boris at Luther Broad's boarding house in the Elven Gardens district.
I don't think the bratty kid who revels in chaos and fascism is the one to learn life lessons from. And I was not referring to Cartman there.
Give my wall ring up. What is
we have Saloon. It's their version of Kenny, resident poor kid of the group, was essentially made as the series' punching bag. So for those who don't know, Kenny is killed a lot in the early seasons of South Park. But to keep this family-friendly thing going, Saloom is beaten up instead of being killed. I guess that's the gag, but funny enough, I find Saloom's treatment in Block 13 more cruel and miserable. More of the characters just rail on Saloom for being poor, to the point where he breaks down into tears on multiple occasions. Like yeah, Kenny may have gotten killed a lot and teased for being poor, but you never really saw him cry or anything. And him being killed too, it's more cartoonish and you can just laugh at it. But to see Saloom like actually cry and break down, that's kind of worse in my eyes. Kenny's deaths were always framed as surreal and arbitrary, not based on just haha, he's a poor kid, let him suffer. As for Saloom,
انت الحين ريال لازم تساعد ابوك. ادري انك ياهل بس لازم تتعلم شلون تصير ريال، الدنيا ما ترحم يا ولدي.
الله يهداكم بس ايش حقه صارخون.
For God's sake, give this kid a break. Or are we just teaching the lesson that poor people are lesser people?
Oh, and Hamoud and Azus?
Yeah, they're just kind of flat personality-wise. I know that Kyle and Stan are kind of like the straight men when it comes to like South Park, but here for Hamoud and
Azus, I saw some mud crabs by the water
case. With one who's the intellectual, the other has a hat. The main 4 kids are clear rip-offs, and what they were given to make them different just makes them less interesting and more depressing. Even if you factor in the other characters of Block 13, their teachers, their American Kuwait classmates,
and Abood's little sister,
they don't bring any kind of vibrancy or charm to Block 13. The writing and the performances just don't work well together. Everything is worded and like they're taking a grounded approach to the story, but spoken with chipmunk talk and messed up lip flaps. Grounded things like exploring Saloom's family structure and a matriarchal poor family, and having subtle references to a woman being forced to marry someone 20 years older than her.
Die. Do your work.
very family-friendly topic, right? Many of the Arabic shows I have viewed for this video hold a patriarchal system in high regard, based their moral lessons around upholding it. That is very much a societal perspective. Whether you think that is right or wrong is more of a nuanced opinion. But I think it's very apparent that a woman fearfully worrying, even in her sleep, about being forced to marry a man 20 years older than her is more universally not okay. I don't have an issue with them being critical of stuff like that. Mostly, I think there's a more nuanced way that could have handled it to still get the same point across for their younger audience. In the end, children will experience uncomfortable things. And it's through proper education that we can teach them how to come to terms with such topics. Bluey referenced a miscarriage in a subtle yet powerful way. So I don't knock Block 13 for exploring aspects of their own culture to educate the kids who are watching them. Block 13's greatest strength is that their best episodes are written addressing social commentary without reservations that still highlight how it is important to the values of their society. The problem is that the same grounded writing creates a nauseating whiplash when the absurdities of the show sink in to distract from everything, including its educational elements. They take the insane situation South Park throws their characters into and just base episodes off that without much rhyme or reason. Bizarre pop culture references, unsettling and racist stereotypes, and total
Skyrim isn't like that, which
its
sucks.
incomprehensible range of music styles. What are you into? What do you want? A hip-hop version of the theme song that sounds like it was recorded by the Backstreet Boys? Or maybe you prefer this auditory vomit. Not good, but if that repetitive drilling of the rhythmic droll didn't win you over, don't worry. They'll play it more and more and more and more and more and more and more. Who needs good characters and storytelling when you have a nonsensical, irritating earworm of a song to drive you nuts? Instead of cohesion, viewers are treated to a series with confusing stories and nauseating music that undercuts the message they are trying to deliver. Give South Park credit. Like, even when its lesson of the day is spoken in flowery language to mock those same sorts of hammy kids show morals, South Park's irreverence is deliberate and biting. It has a point to still say, even if it goes crazy and random. Block 13's randomness often feels like a byproduct of writing without a central thesis. One very glaring example of this is when Block 13 talks about the pros and cons of fascism, talking about the painter of Austria. If you don't know who that is, that's Hitler. Yes, Block 13 has an episode where the boys first learn all about the promise and greatness that the German party brought to their country. Well, at least Block 13 did something different from South Park. I don't think I'd expect them to give praise to Hitler. But even in the series' misguided attempts to make a point, by the end of the episode, I don't know if Block 13 is saying the regime's government was good or bad. The boys are watching the Hitler documentary when their TV announces that all citizens in Block 13 will be getting jobs. No need for experience or quality control. Everyone is qualified, which then leads the boys to go do various jobs and get hurt and have an awful time, showing that this system is bad and the kids wouldn't like it. Again, I don't really understand what this episode is trying to convey here. It feels like they're trying to break down what's bad about this broken job system, but they're also like indirectly praising Hitler's fascist system? What? And whatever they think they're doing here, it feels like an awful lesson to include for a family-friendly audience. The very fact that Block 13 mimics South Park, which was banned for religious insensitivity, only to lace its content with Nazi imagery and cultural caricatures, and it feels kind of a bit hypocritical in the context of Ramadan programming.
Especially when you have Abu dreaming of dressing up as a fascist dictator.
Like, what the actual hell? How is this considered family-friendly? Despite its intent to reflect Kuwaiti culture, Block 13 often undermines itself through shallow or insensitive portrayals and religious contexts, but does so through a lens of mockery. Saloom getting hurt isn't a commentary on poverty. It's a running joke at his expense about how much it sucks being poor and no one respects him. He's punished for being industrious, demeaned for studying, and ignored when crying. At no point is anyone punished for hurting him. And that really bothers me.